right, so what do you want me to talk about?
Well, just talk about what would you walk a client through that first get started? How should they get started? Well, first define LBS, and then what would a client do to get started? Enter information.
Okay. Well, all right, before I do that, are we talking about, like, if I guess it has to be in a scenario where they can just do it on their own, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So basically, this is the main platform that we at Sports Financial Group use to help our clients get organized and to help them make financial decisions. Because this platform not only is going to show them where all of their assets are and all of their insurance and their cash flow and things like that, they also give us calculators that we can use to test and measure different strategies as to so we can determine what's the best course of action for any particular scenario. Okay, so once your living balance sheet is up and running, there's really two ways to do this. As the advisor, I can set this up for you and give you what's called your own personal website through living balance sheet. Or once you have your website, you can actually go in, log in yourself, and share that website with anybody that you want if you feel the tool is valuable and should be seen by a variety of different people. So in this particular example, this website was set up by me directly, but if I go to the client website, this is what the client will see. So this is Christopher King's personal website. So now he has the ability to do a couple of things here. He can enter quick facts, which is just a basic, quick and dirty kind of broad stroke idea of what he has in all these different drawers, or we can do the full profile, which is a little bit more detailed. Either way, in order to get the plan started, quick facts is a good place to start. But if we're really going to get detailed with the planning process, we need to be in the full profile, which is where we are right now. And then also, I had mentioned before that if you would like to share this link with any of your friends, family, colleagues, or whomever you feel that needs to see this, all you got to do is click on this button here, and you can actually email them a copy of this right here. Just your name, email address, and a little message. Like, for example, it might be, this is Christopher King, going to one of his friends, hey, man, you got to take a look at this. This is a great site. And then just hit send, and then not only will your friend receive the same access to their own personal account, they won't have any access to the sender's account. But as the advisor, I will also be able to see that new site has been created. Okay? So let's get off of this. This is quick facts. This is the easy version of how we want to go ahead and do things. And as you can see, it's real easy. You can add in the number of children. I have a big family, so hopefully that never doesn't scare anybody. Annual income, you can just put that in there, whatever it may be. Your age. And then just move right along. And it's very user-friendly. So as you do this, it'll take you through all aspects of the kind of facts that we need in order to do the planning process. And all you got to do is just answer the question. So, like this first question, if you have a car accident and get sued, how much excess liability protection do you have? I don't know. Most people don't know the answer to that. Okay, it's moving right along. And you just answer these questions the best of your ability. And what that will do is that will populate the information version of your living balance sheet, and then we can use that as a starting off point to figure out what's the best course of action. We talk about family, insurance, assets, liabilities, cash flow, and then once all of that's populated, it gives us a scorecard. And for some reason, it's not pulling. There it is. This is the scorecard. So obviously, red means like the warning as a problem. If it was moderate, it would be yellow. That's not bad, but not great. And then, of course, optimal is what we all want to strive for. So in the living balance sheet, as you'll notice, there are four main domains: protection, assets, liabilities, cash flow, and then, of course, there's a summary. So as you fill in all of your information and then click on the status report, you can go right through all of these domains to figure out how you're doing. Again, it's not an exact science, but it's a good starting off point for when you actually talk to an advisor. So because there's no actual data in this particular model at the moment, every time we click on something, it's going to be a warning. But the goal would be, and for any of my clients, my goal is to get everybody either working towards optimal or 100% optimal. That would be the idea. In this first domain, if you are optimal in all of these categories, that means you and your family is protected from just about any and all things that may come your way. Okay, I'm not saying you can be protected fully because it's kind of difficult to get rid of all kinds of risks, but you'll be in a much better scenario to sustain any kind of uh-oh moment or any kind of, as we call it, a financial chest wound to your personal balance sheet. You'll be better equipped to deal with that as opposed to not going through this exercise. So once you're done with this, you can go click on the assets and then do the same thing. Again, everybody in this particular scenario is in red because we have no data, but I would strongly recommend everyone read the assessments on this because it's really good information as far as what you should be doing. And, of course, there's the LBS financial tip. And then, of course, we can move right along. So once all of this has been populated into your living balance sheet, the next thing that you can do is go to accounts. Now, what makes living balance sheet so unique is that it has the ability to link any and all online accounts that you have to the living balance sheet. Now, let me be clear. Living balance sheet is not a transactional site. What I mean by that is you cannot bank on living balance sheet. You can't go to Bank of America if that's your bank and pay your bills or do anything of that nature. But what you can do is have all of your accounts linked to living balance sheet. And what it will do for you is every night at midnight or a little after midnight, it'll sweep the number of the account balance and automatically update it to your living balance sheet. So every day, if you choose to do this, you don't have to, but if you choose to do it, every day your living balance sheet will be updated with new numbers. So when you look at it, you know exactly where you are on a daily basis, as opposed to having to go through all these accounts here to figure out what my particular account balance is, what my credit card statements look like, what my investment looks like, what my loans look like. It'll be all there for you. And the creators of Living Balance Sheet have done a really good job of having just about every bank, every loan institution, every credit card company, everything, just about everything on your at your disposal. So it doesn't matter who you're banking through, you should be able to get this logged in if you want. And all you got to do is just search by the name. If you don't see it here, like PNC Bank, for example, you can type PNC and then search and see if it can find it for you. And it's still looking, and there it is. Then they have a handful of different PNC banks that you want, if you have a Visa card or anything. You can click on it, and it'll ask you for your account numbers, and then you can plug it in. So the reason why I want to tell you this is a non-transactional site is if someone, for some reason or other, should get on your living balance sheet, they will certainly have access to the number in your account as far as the total, but they will have no access to any account number. So it's very secure, and in fact, living balance sheet is on the same server that the Wall Street and the New York Stock Exchange is on. So if that's not getting hacked into, neither is this. Then, of course, at any point in time, you can hop on here and check out your reports, do your scorecard again as you may go through the planning process with a professional. You might make some changes, you might add some things, you might delete some things, and then you can always update your scorecard when you feel it's appropriate. The other thing we want to talk about is what we call the uncommon knowledge. This is a really good, useful information site as well as your living balance sheet. So for some reason it's not popping up here, but here we go. There's a lot of good information on here. It's all part of your site. Whether you want to read, this is a powerful video. There's financial rules. There's trying to get ahead. buying term life, or there a better way. There's all kinds of different scenarios that you should be able to read up on and get some good information about prior to you meeting with your advisor. So if you have anything that you want to learn about, there's some great information here that you can look at, read, become better educated on. And then, of course, there's these success stories here of people who worked through living balance sheet and did their best, and now they're living what we call a much more balanced life. We have a vault. The vault is an actually very good and new feature to living balance sheet. And what it will allow you to do is to save anything that you feel is important online. So if you have access to your living balance sheet, but you don't have access to an internet source, but you're not at home, and something happens, like you're on vacation and you're out of state, and for whatever reason you need some documents, or for whatever reason you need your life insurance policies, or your disability policies, or you need your bank statements, or you lost your credit card, or whatever, you can add the copies of PDFs to these particular areas. So whether you're home or not, if something bad happens, you can just go click online and get a copy of it. Or people put their personal memoirs in here. I know people that use this vault to put sky miles on and things like that. It's just a great way to have all of your documents in one spot online. So if you're not at home and something happens, you can click on it. All you need is internet access, and you're good to go. Now, I'm not saying get rid of the hard copy. It's good to have the hard copies at home in a safe or some protected area. But in the event that you don't have that handy, this is a great place to put things. I know some of my clients also put photos and diplomas. They just scan it and they put it online, and they have it. It's there at their disposal. And then also, in regards to your financial information and your insurance information and things of that nature, when something does happen, it's really easy to go to one spot and have it all in front of you, as opposed to digging through this file cabinet or digging through that file cabinet trying to figure out where they put it. The next thing we have is tools. We have the Award Manager, Investment Research. So, like, for example, if you want to do some research on your own in regards to certain kinds of things, there's some good information that gets updated. As you can see, it's updated today. And every so often they put things in. It's great reading material if you're interested in any of this stuff. You can click on the markets, the economy, companies, funds, international, whatever you feel is appropriate. It's a good resource if you have some time to read, or if you're looking for something in particular. Give this area a look, and it may have some information for you. Share with friends. And then, of course, we have your personal financial biography. It just lets you write your own personal story about who you are, what's important to you. I know, obviously, all these things you don't have to use, but it's just there for your disposal. And then, of course, we have alerts. You can set up the alerts to contact you in the event that something is out of whack. So, like, for example, a story that I like to use is there was one. I mean, every day I look at my living balance sheet, and there was one day I looked at it, and I noticed that my liabilities were up by about $2,000, and I didn't know why it was. So now, again, this is not a transactional site, so it won't tell me necessarily what had happened. It just noticed when it swept my account the night before that someone spent $2,000. So I found out what credit card it was, and it was the American Express, and I went on my AmericanExpress.com to figure out what had happened. And what had happened was that my wife went and bought the baby furniture that we had talked about. I had just forgotten that we were going to do it, and she went and did it and didn't tell me. So now the good news is that it's no big deal, but it was good that my alerts let me know that something was not right. So this is, again, you don't have to use this, but it's just another area that you have at your disposal to make your life a little bit easier. Now, once all of this is set up and you have your accounts in order and everything's good to go, all you have to do now is every day or every couple of days look at what we call your dashboard, and it'll tell you exactly what's going on. These numbers will be populated. You'll know what your personal property is, your savings, and your investment, and your retirement. You'll know what your debt is, what your taxes due on your retirement plan, your mortgage if you have one. your income, your cost for insurance, annual savings, your debt and tax costs, and then what you're actually living on, okay? Because what you earn and what you live on are two different things. And this is where most of the people have their issue, that they pay this stuff, and they don't know where this money is going. Well, the whole point of cash flow is to figure out where that's going. And then once we know where it's going, we can use it more efficiently to maybe knock down some of that short-term debt, or increase some of that savings, or increase some of that investments, or make sure that we're fully protected in the event that we're sued or we get sick, or if we die prematurely, or if we don't have a will. So all of this is funded through this, but the problem is we got to make sure we have this. We know where the money's going. So every day you can get a look at it. Now, once this is up and running, and if you so choose to do so, you can contact me and set up an appointment, and we can actually go through this step by step, piece by piece, and make sure that your financial plan not only is in line with your goals, but it will also make sure that you get to where you're hopefully trying to get to, which is a better life with fully protected, low liabilities, high assets, and knowing exactly where all your cash is flowing at any given point in time. And then, of course, once the plan is set up, this is a great deliverable. I can talk to my client just like I'm talking to you all now, over the phone or through the computer. We can say, hey, what's going on here, what's going on there, or what's changed in your life. And we have a good basis to have conversation as to are we meeting our goals or are we not. And so that's in a nutshell how this works. Again, this is what your side of the living balance sheet looks like. This is what my side of the living balance sheet looks like. And my side is a little bit more detailed, but I'm able to pull open all of these drawers to find out what your debt like, or your time is like, or your income is like, or whatever the case may be. And then, of course, once we have all the data in place, then we can actually go to the presentation, and we work on the protection side of it, the cash flow, the liabilities. And these are all the calculators that we use to help illustrate whatever it is that we're trying to do, whether it's trying to financial properties, or human life value, or income replacement, or the financial balance scorecard, which we had talked about what this would look like on. It looked very similar to the way it looked on your side too. The wealth building calculator is a good one. This kind of shows people what's going on and how much money they've earned over the course of their life. And then when you take out the impact of taxes, take out the impact of debt, take out the impact of lifestyle, what was a lot of money is not a lot of money anymore. So it's our job as planners to try to minimize the tax burden, try to minimize the debt, and try to, I don't want to say put you on a budget, but understand that life that we all live to our means. So if we can kind of shave a little bit off of each box, that will ultimately give us a bigger savings for retirement, things of that nature. And these are just the little things that my clients go through every day that they might not be thinking about, but as a result of the living balance sheet and their calculators and how things are done, it gives them a much clearer understanding of what they should do and why they should do it. And then, of course, once we go through, and it might take a handful of meetings to do this, but ultimately the goal is to spend some time talking about protection, talking about assets, talking about liabilities, talking about cash flow, put in place any type of product or strategy that we deem is appropriate from my perspective and your perspective. And then, of course, the main goal is that my job is to make sure that whatever we do, that we find the money on your balance sheet to do it. Usually I can do that. Sometimes I can't. But I don't want I'm trying to avoid any new out-of-pocket expenditures. A lot of times money is lost somewhere in here, and we don't even know where it's going. So if I can recapture that money and put it towards something a little bit more pressing, like maybe paying down your debt or bolstering your savings or getting some insurance to be fully protected, that would be a better use of your money. And usually my clients can walk out of the meeting with little to no out-of-pocket expenditures. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but sometimes it does. And then once all of that's done, then we got a plan. We have a course of action. We know what we're trying to get to, and we review it every 12 to 18 months to make sure that we still stay on it. And of course, because of the living balance sheet, you have your site and I have my site, I can see what's going on at any point in time, and if I feel like we need to have a conversation, we will. But that's in an essence what the living balance sheet does and how it works. And all of my clients are on it, and it's a free service that they have. And once we had it, are you there?
The connection dropped, actually.
Yeah. What's going on? I lost my internet. Here we go. I'm back. Are you there?
Yes.
I don't know exactly where I ended up, but anyhow, once all this is done and we have a good basis of a good jumping off point, then every 12 to 18 months we'll get together again. Or if I notice any inefficiencies in your balance sheet, we can have a conversation sooner than that. But this is a tool. It's a deliverable. I don't charge my clients for the use of this, and I recommend that everyone uses it. And I also recommend that you share this with your friends and family. If you don't feel comfortable making an introduction to me personally, introduce the website to them, and I'll know when that happens, and then I can reach out to them or reach out to you and say, should I call them, or whatever the case may be. But in a nutshell, that's what living balance sheet is, and I'm looking forward to answering any questions or having any conversation with you all as time goes on.
Well, let me ask you a couple of questions. What would you recommend be the first step for a person to get started with a living balance sheet? Once I send them the link and they click on the link and I guess log on, what would you say would be their very first step they should do?
Well, the first thing they should do is really, right now we're on quick facts. It would be a lot easier if they went to the full profile and just start filling out all the information, okay? Again, the information is completely secure, so no one's going to be able to see this but me, all right? Once that happens, I will be able to, I'll know it happened, and then I can communicate with the client if you want to get together or not. Now, you don't have to get together with me in order to use living balance sheet. However, in order to really maximize not only the use of the site, but also the use of the financial plan, because the planning is evolved around this, then you either reach out to me, because you can email me here, or once I realize the site's up, I can reach out to the client and say, okay, I got your information, let's schedule a time to talk, and then we can kind of go from there. At any point in time, though, if the client's like, I just want to use your website, I don't necessarily need any planning, I'm okay with that, because I do believe at some point either they won't use it as to the full extent that they can, or they'll call me and say, hey, look, I want to talk to you more about planning. That would be the first step.
Okay, and now once a person's entered their information, they go through each one of these tabs and enter and complete that information. Do you recommend they complete the information before they talk with you as far as the consultation that you're offering?
Well, I mean, it's up to them, really. If they want to get started right away, they can certainly contact me, and then we can fill out the information together. It's just a lot of this stuff, as you can see, shouldn't be terribly difficult to fill out, and it would just save us some time. So once we actually get together, I'll have all the information. I can actually start analyzing the data first. Then when we get together, we can jump right into the plan and kind of go from there. But if they'd rather get to know me first and rather make sure it's the right thing, that's fine too.
Okay. And typically, how long is the consultation, the initial consultation that you're offering, once they've logged on, entered their data, and now they're receiving a consultation from you? How long does it usually last?
I would say the meetings run somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour, and I probably need about 4 or 5 meetings over the course of a couple of months, I guess. And then throughout that whole process, once we're done, or at least once we get to a point where there's nothing else to talk about because of, for whatever reason, then we can back off it, pick it up again in 12 months and go from there. But I would say initially probably 3 or 4 45 minutes to an hour meeting.
Okay. Now, under tools, there was an option, I believe, for My Financial Story, if I'm not personal financial biography. Can you talk a little bit more about what that is? And
this is like a personal financial memoir. You know what I mean? You can use, again, all these tools you don't need to use, but like you can literally just start typing your story, like how you started your business, or what your goals are, what made you decide to do whatever it is that you're doing, what your family, your legacy, whatever you want to do. It's just an area for you to kind of get your thoughts down in a secure place, but that can be accessed at any time.
okay. And
it's like a blog, if you will, that you can just kind of type down your thoughts, or if you want to have like a diary even. I had a great day today. Met a new client. This is great, or whatever the case may be.
Okay. And what would you recommend for a person who doesn't have any insurance protection? What would you recommend for them to start?
They don't have any insurance? Is that what you said?
Yes. I mean, outside the mandated insurance, such as auto insurance, but they don't have any life insurance or any that kind of protection at all.
Yeah. The first thing that we talk about in all of my meetings would be protection. This would be the first thing right here. My answer is, personally speaking, everyone needs to have some form of income replacement disability insurance, some form of life insurance, and wills and trust in place. Everyone who drives a car is going to have automobile insurance more than likely, and then you're also going to need an umbrella policy on top of that. So you really got to touch all these boxes. Now, people might say, well, I don't have kids, so why do I need this, or whatever the case may be. And in our meetings, I will let you know. I'll give you a tutorial on why these things are important, regardless of whether you're married or not, whether you have kids or not. It doesn't matter, because all these tools are designed to make all this other stuff work better. But yeah, if you don't have it, my recommendation is let's talk about it and figure out why you don't have it. And if the answer is I need to have it, let's get it.
Okay. And how would you define net worth?
Well, net worth is just when you add up all of your assets and you subtract all of your liabilities, you're going to get a number, and that's what this calculation will do. So if these numbers were filled in, and so were these, it would just literally subtract the two numbers and come up with a net worth. Now, obviously, net worth is, it's a good number to look at, but it doesn't always tell you the story, because you can have an awful lot of assets and an awful lot of debt and have zero net worth, but you might have, that debt might be business debt or mortgage debt, which is not necessarily bad debt. Whereas I know people who have a lot of short-term revolving credit debt, well, that's a problem. That could be a problem that can really eat away at your assets. So, but that's where the net worth comes from. And then, of course, the goal is we want to protect this number. Again, if you get sued, if you get sick, if you need a will, or if you die prematurely, we want to make sure that this number's protected in a way that either you can use it or it can be passed on to someone that you want to pass it on to without someone else getting their hands on it, whether it be the IRS or whether it be somebody who sued you or whatever. And in order to get this number as high as possible, we have to really, really focus on your cash flow, and we got to make sure that we're protected.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Okay, and just to make sure I'm clear for clarification, once I share the link with a participant of mine, will they automatically get an email with login instructions, or it's a step that comes to you and then you send that login information to them?
They should get something automatically. It'll let them know what their it'll give them a link to a site. They'll click on it, and then it'll create their username and password for them. It will notify me as the advisor that someone created a personal balance sheet. Now, I'll have access to it, but I won't know the password. I just won't know that. If in the event that you forget your password, that you can let me know that you forgot your password, and I can reset another temporary password, but I'll never know your actual password. But at the same time, I can hop on your, I can see your balance sheet whenever I want, but just so you know.
Okay.
But that's it. Yeah, you click on it, get started. You know, it's a great tutorial. I mean, it's a great way to figure out exactly what's going on in your life. If you haven't really figured it out or taken the time to put all these things in there, it's a good exercise. And the great thing about it is, once all of this is in and you link up all of your accounts, you'll never have to do it again, ever. Whether you're dealing with me or dealing with another financial advisor or dealing with your accountant or dealing with anybody, you have all the information right at your fingertips. So every year, we all got to talk to our accountant at some point throughout the year. So every year they're going to ask you, well, you know, how'd you do? Well, I need to know what your numbers are. So it's easy. I got it right here. I got everything you need.
Okay.
So it becomes a lot easier to interact with other financial professionals should you choose to do that. And
the reports can be printed as well as just viewed online?
That's a good question. I don't know if it can be printed or not. Let's see if we can do that. As you see, everything here is red. Again, the goal is to get you moving towards green. I don't know why that's green at the moment because there's no data there. I don't believe. I guess you can do a page print, but I don't believe you can print it. I don't believe it can be printed.
Okay. Well, thank you for this. This has been very informative.
It's my absolute pleasure. Looking forward to having further conversation with you about it. Living Balance Sheet is obviously a trademark entity. I'm a licensed, authorized user of the Living Balance Sheet, and I'm very happy to use it, very happy to present it to you guys, and hopefully you'll see the same value in it that I do.
Excellent. Thank you for your time, Andrew.
My absolute pleasure. Chris, thanks a lot.